Alright, so back for another 8-man. Through the magic of recording, I've like slept and woken up, so hopefully I'm a bit more like coherent and competent for this set of videos. Um, yeah, so playing first, since very good. Again, just a hand where I'm probably not going to cast this Jitaxian Probe until turn 3, but it's still probably going to be fine, just to fuel my angler. I've played this guy before, and he was playing some like goblins deck, the less strange goblins deck the last time I played him. I don't know if he's playing the same thing, but if he is, then this hand is probably especially good. Alright, I need to turn on my hotkeys, sorry. Yeah. But I think you just keep this against every deck imaginable. I don't think you could conceive of a deck you could mulligan this against. Like, even if you knew this Terminate was going to be a dead card, I think you'd still have to keep this hand. So it looks like he still is playing the same Goblins deck he was playing last time. Flipping Delver is good here. So now the question is whether I'm interested in trading one of my life for 3 of his life, assuming he doesn't play another Goblin. I mean, if he had a Goblin Guide or something, he would have played it on turn 1. Yeah, I think trading... I don't think his deck is aggressive enough that I'm willing to give up 3 damage just for 1 damage. I don't think it's super likely he plays a haste creature here. I probably want to save this for a like goblin ward, like a lord type creature. So okay, Mock War Marshal is fine. So take 1. Next turn I'll the Angler to block, which I mean isn't a super effective blocker against millions of 1/1s, but it's fine. So now I have a choice between whether I want to fetch before or after casting Thought Scour. I'm so likely to want to shockland here anyway that I think it's worth it. Like, even if I draw another Thought Scour or a Bolt here, maybe I regret it somewhat, but not really. So now this Legion Loyalist is actually somewhat annoying. So next turn, if he pays the Echo, he's going to be able to attack with all 3 of his guys. I think that getting this Young Pyromancer going is valuable enough that I'm just going to play Young Pyromancer, play Thought Scour. I'll probably actually play the Probe here, actually, because I'm going to have 7 cards in my graveyard at the end of this, 6 cards in my graveyard at the end of this turn anyway. But yeah, so I think I'm just going to leave my Delver back to block. So either way, either he can't use his Legion Loyalist. He could have a haste creature if he has a Goblin Bushwhacker, that'd be fairly bad. But still not the end of the world, I'm still not dead. Maybe I shouldn't have fetched an island there, actually. Yeah, I probably should have fetched a swamp there. But yeah. He has Goblin Bushwhacker, so he can sack his Mogwar Marshal and get in for millions. That's bad for me, but okay, his hand is nothing. I guess lots of things could have been bad for me there. If he had a Goblin, if he had a Lord or a Bushwhacker, I would have been in a decent amount of trouble in either case. But like against just this hand, if he against just this hand, I think just playing the Angler isn't good enough. Just because he's just gonna have so many 1/1s. It's just blocking 1 creature a turn isn't going to be sufficient. Like, isn't going to be sufficient. Yeah, so he's not going to be able to attack with anything this turn. Then next turn, given his hand, I think I'm willing to shock myself to play this Angler. And then just get in the air with the Delver. And then on the beginning of his turn, even though he has Krenko in hand, I probably have to kill this Legion Loyalist. We'll see what he does. So he plays Krenko. At the beginning of his upkeep, I'm just gonna Thought Scour to make my decisions a bit easier, I think. So drawing a bunch of counter spells against his Cavern Soul is not the best. I think I just let him attack. If he wants to get in for 4 damage here, he's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah. So end of turn, I'm just gonna terminate the Krenko. It's gonna get out of hand too quickly. And so yeah, so he basically just has the option of getting in for 4 damage at most points, which I don't think is super relevant. Given that the tokens can't block, I'm attacking with them anyway. So it's 6 damage. The Gurmag Angler, if I attack, he probably has to block, but then it gives him a free attack with his Legion Loyalist and his remaining creatures. So if he takes this, it's 11 damage. He has to block. I'll take 3 on the backswing. His hand has a dragon fodder in it and nothing else. I think I just hold it back. I think that's fine. I mean, making him start to chop block is nice, but I think it's not as much as threatening the backswing. So now there's a question of whether I want to deprive this. I think I'm just gonna mana leak this. I wanna save the deprive for a Goblin Grenade, basically, or like a shared animosity type card. I'm willing to mana leak this just because mana leak's basically never going to get any value this game anyway. It's either going to it's going to either, because all of his expensive cards are goblins, and I also don't think the 2/1/1s here matter that much. If he draws Goblin Bushwhacker, I'll be sad. So this turn I think I'm just going to attack with everything, just because I want Goblin Bushwhacker to be as do as little as possible. That's the only thing I'm truly afraid of. I think my opponent misunderstands how his card works. You don't get the battalion trigger on blocking, on defense rather. All right, so now I'm very ahead. So yeah, not super sure what to say. I could counter this. I don't think that I think this buys him enough time that it's worth doing. I mean, I'm at 14 life. There's nothing really I'm scared of, even if he has a Lord here, which is maybe the one other card I think about countering. It's I mean, the fact that he deliberately gave me the option to counter it obviously means that I should give some serious thought to actually countering it. But yeah, so this is the I mean, yeah, I think it's still correct for me to do so. Yeah, so now I'm just attacking. He has to chump block, puts him on a 1-turn clock, gives him very few options. Yeah, so had he not just randomly just thrown away all of his creatures, I guess I'm interested in how good that Bushwhacker would have been for him. I didn't actually do any math just because I only really had one play that did anything against Bushwhacker, which was to attack with everything. But I mean, it still could have been good for him. But now I think this game is mostly just beyond over, so just going through the motions at this point. Alright, so attack for both, getting my 1 damage. Let's see if my opponent can either deal with this board or deal me 13 damage with 1 card. Probably starts with him drawing it has to involve like Yawgmoth's Will somehow and Lotus, but I'm not sure if there's like a card. I guess Wheel of Fortune. It starts with Wheel of Fortune, but that's not in his deck. All right. So it's kind of interesting whether I want the Cavern of, whether I want the Mana Leaks or not, because he does have expensive cards that are good to counter. Like he has Dragon Fodders and he has Krenko. And the last time I played him, he had Shared Animosity and Blood Moon in his deck. So League is probably good enough to keep in my deck. I definitely want Explosives. I definitely want Staticaster. 1 Kolaghan's Command, probably. Batterskull is good, especially against Blood Moon. I don't think I want Dragon's Claw. His deck's not aggressive enough that I care about my life total. I don't want Deprives or Negates, they're just a bit too slow. I don't want Dispels. So I think that this is the sum total of cards I want to put in my deck. And then the question is what I want to board out. And I think the answer is some number of Thoughtseizes could be right. This is my natural inclination. It's possible that I'd rather have Thoughtseizes than Delvers. It's possible I'd rather have 1 or 2 Thoughtseizes than 1 or 2 Delvers. I think that that's true. I think, yeah, 1 Thoughtseize is fine. And Spellstorm is good. It counters Mogboar Marshal if he doesn't have Cavern, and it counters Dragon Fodder even if he does. I think it's just it's too efficient, especially when I'm in the draw, to take out. That's not perfect. Okay, so Magic Online is crashed again, so I'll be back when it's fixed.